All right, let's do a status of the tank video. So ick or whatever kind of disease that has hit my tank is claiming more fish. I woke up yesterday morning and both clownfish were dead. So I took them out of the tank. The only remaining fish I have are the purple tang and the 3 green chromis. The purple tang is still covered with ick or whatever it is. I'm feeding them food mixed with a multivitamin and garlic, but still no luck trying to catch them. The purple tang has gone back to not eating again. It started eating for a little while, then it's reverted back to not eating. So I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty much at this point, I've tried everything I could to catch them. My wife and I have tried to tag team it with nets on both sides, and they get up in the rocks and we just can't get them out. So they do a really good job of hiding anytime I'm hovering over the tank or introduce anything into the water. With them not really wanting to eat, then I didn't even bother with doing a fish trap or even trying that route. I did go ahead and order one today, but it's going to take 5 days to get here. So I don't know. I'll let you know what happens as far as all that. I mean, they're swimming around, but I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. I hate all the stuff that's going on. I hate anytime, I have fish loss. I hate the fact that I can't catch them and treat them with anything. It's one of those things that is pick your battles. The corals are doing so well, and I have growth on all of them. I don't want anything that would, I think, really any kind of treatment that would help the fish will probably kill the corals or, wipe out that stuff or kill my snails and shrimp and everything else. So my only option was trying to get them out, or I'm just doing the not medicated food, but vitamin and garlic food in an effort to get them to pull through, but it's not working. I'm still losing them, so losing that battle. So we'll just chalk that one up to another downer so far. Like I said, being in the hobby 20 plus years, I don't know what it is. I guess it's because maybe my own fault for trying so many new things at one time and going different directions, and then taking the tank down, getting the verminted snails, which I never had previously. I don't know, so many different things going on. I guess all that I've been trying to do and all the changes. I don't know if I've just thrown everything, off kilt or what's going on, but been having a run of bad luck with it lately. Anyway, that's the tank, as far as what's going on in there. No sightings of verminted snails inside it so far. I've taken my magnifying glass and tried to look at things, inspect things, and every time I see a little bump on a rock, I try to look at it closely, and even I got a bamboo toothpick and was picking at one thing with it, trying to scrape it to see if it flaked off. Just overly, I guess, concerned about getting verminted snails again. I almost feel like it's bound to happen, just the way my luck's been running. Since I did have them pop up in the sump again, I'm almost thinking, I don't know how they populate or reproduce. I know they reproduce through like eggs, but I don't know like how long it takes. I don't know when they put eggs out in their webbing mucus stuff or whatever. I don't know, how long the process is and how they grab hold and how long it takes to spread and how far it can travel and all the different, I don't know all the details to the verminted snail. So if anybody is an expert on them and wants to share in the comments, I would love to read some more stuff on it. I I've searched and done Google searches, and I found some articles, but even the articles I found, I didn't get all of my questions answered. So anyway, I'm hoping and praying on that one that I never have to deal with them again. As long as they're not somehow in the tank right now, I shouldn't ever get them again, because I'm doing new methods with everything that comes into the tank now as a precaution, to keep them out. So if they're already still in the tank by some means, then I'm just going to have them again, and I'll just have to deal with it. Let's see, lighting, as we did the video on that. Got the Orphic bars, they're working well. The Kessels, I'm really happy with the lighting right now. I'm getting plenty of par. I don't think with all of that I'm going to have issues with shadowing, so I think that's going to work out well. Put the par meter to it. I think last time what I said in the video, I don't remember what it even was. It was like 350 to 400, somewhere in that range, the average I was getting in most parts. So I think I'm pretty good there. The next thing will be, I just really been waiting and giving it some more time to adjust and everything settle down before I add more corals. But the ones that I have are all doing well, and I know I don't have my blue light filter on, but I have white tips on all of them, and all of them are growing well. There's good polyp extension, if you can see. I mean, all of them appear to be doing well, except for the blue tort. I don't see any kind of growth or change at all in it. But the rest of them seem to be doing really well, especially this one and this one. That one was always a fast grower though. I fragged it off a few times. Let's see. Otherwise, that's about it on the internal parts of the tank. I'm still doing the Kalkwasser inside the, I have to think of what everything is even called anymore, inside the Avast Marine Kalkstir. pH is more where I want it now. It's not ideal, so everybody strives to hit that 8.3, the magic number. I was running 7 at one point with this tank since I redid it. I think the low was like, maybe even reached down to 7.6 or 7.7, something like that. And up to about maybe 7.8, 7.9. I saw numbers like that at times. After doing the Kalkwasser, when I was doing more of the concentrated out of a gallon jug, it was getting like up to 8.1. And that was my high. Now that I have it in the Avast reactor, my range right now, which is not a big range, it's kind of closed the gap on it, but for the past 3 days straight, is 8.0 to 8.05. So I'm only getting a 0.05 fluctuation. So I mean, I guess if it stays there, I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like I'm doing good as long as I keep it over 8. Yes, I would love to hit 8.3. I think that's just going to be more beneficial to the corals. I've known people before that have successfully grown Acropora, and they seem super healthy and colorful at 7.8 plus. So I think, just the closest I can get to 8.3 will be great. So 8.00 to 8.05, I'm good with that right now. Let's see what else. I have the Chaeto reactor going, the Pax Bellum. It looks good, it's growing. I think that's part of why I don't have the fluctuations as much. I think at night, that's absorbing a lot of the CO2. So I think everything I have running right now is kind of regulating that pH. So at one point, I had the real dips at night, but now I don't really have the dips anymore. So I think it has a lot to do with adding that Chaeto reactor in. So if that's the case, then that was definitely a good call. So I'm happy with everything like that so far. The calcium reactor, everybody knows I got the Reef Octo CR200 if you've been following along. As you know, I knew this going in. I mean, I only have these small few frags in here right now, very small. So there's not a lot of demand for alkalinity and calcium. There's very little demand for calcium right now. My alkalinity was taking, as it is right now, about 15 to 20 mLs a day. So I've found that with the Kalkwasser, I'm dosing, I have it set to dose 2200 ml, and it's kind of keeping my pH where it needs to be, but it's not really adding much as far as alkalinity and calcium. So I was still like manually dosing about 10 mLs of alkalinity a day by hand, and now I've got the calcium reactor running, and it's kind of, with the, let's say it like this, with the low requirements, it's hard to adjust. So I've got the pH inside the calcium reactor set on like 7.1, and now I have the Chemour dosing at 20 mLs a day. And then I also have rules in the Apex. So if the alkalinity is over, I like to keep mine between 8 and 8.5. If it's over 8.5, it shuts off the carbon doser, so no more CO2 goes in. And then if the pH drops below 7.8, it'll shut it off too. So I have some rules in the Apex, you know, just dedicated to the calcium reactor and all that equipment. But right now, the calcium reactor, even running 20 mLs a day, and then the pH being set at like right 7.1, is still dosing too much. So it is bringing my alkalinity up too much. And so right now, the rule that I have in the Apex is actually shutting off the carbon doser when it exceeds the 8.5 alkalinity. So it's, I mean, that's working. And when it runs, when the Trident runs the next test, it's usually, you know, kicking it back on. And I have it set to run 6 times a day. So it's like every 4 hours that it's checking that. So when it turns the carbon doser off, it'll drop right under it. 8.5 is like 8.47, and then it'll kick it on, and then at the next test it'll be like 8.52, and then it shuts it back off. So it's still, you know, at those low settings, or those actual settings, it's still dosing more alkalinity than the tank needs, so it's just getting shut off right now. I didn't want to turn the flow down less than 20 mLs a day, because they, you know, a lot of things I read said you can get a buildup on the line and in the hose and all, and it's just good to run. Most people say 20 to 30 mLs a day, like a minimum, just to keep the flow going through. And then I don't know if 7.0 pH, anything under that is considered acidic. So I have it at 7.1. I don't know if I go any higher if it will dissolve anything. So I don't know. I might tinker around with that just a little bit more to see if it levels out or whatever, but not sure, you know, what I'm gonna do, if I'm just gonna let it ride how it is. Or I think, you know, the big thing is when I get some more corals in here and there's more demand, then I can fool around with the settings of that more. But right now, like I said, it's fairly stable. I mean, that's not a big alkalinity swing or anything. I've got it set up so that it doesn't. So I think I'm on the right track. The only thing about the calcium reactor, you you maybe can hear it, but it's still, every time the CO2 turns on, it builds up CO2 in the top, and it comes through the line and puts it back in the water and goes down the pump, and you hear that slosh sound inside the pump. It makes a noise every single time. So if that's truly how this is meant to work, and that noise is normal, there it is, if you could hear that, then this is not something you would want to put in an area like where you have a room where you have a watch TV or have the family hanging out and stuff like that. To me, it's too loud. It makes too much noise every time it does that. So just one of those things to consider. I don't know, I watched all the videos. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to adjust that valve and close it some. To me, I would think that if I closed it off some, it would hold or retain more CO2 building up in the top of the lid. So let me know if anybody has any suggestions about adjustments for this thing. I watched the Coral View videos of setting it up, and it really didn't mention anything about it, but that valve has to be there for a reason. So I closed it up halfway at one point, and the sound was still there. I think it was less often, but I just worried about more CO2 building up in the top of it. So I just don't know how that's supposed to be. All right, that'll wrap it up for this video. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about anything.